Look at those soulless eyes. The soulless, droopy, baggy eyes of actor Sterling K. Brown. That's the look of a person that has sold his soul for the mainstream. And he's a part of a huge grift that's going on. The Manosphere grift that's happening by Oprah Winfrey. Yes, she's now all of a sudden decided to care about men and fathers, specifically black fathers. Now, for those who somehow aren't familiar with Oprah Winfrey, she had a talk show for years. As a talk show host, she would constantly kiss women's ass, kiss white people's ass, and shit on men and black men and dismiss fathers altogether. And then, when the BLM nonsense got popular, she exposed herself when she began to make those racial complaints that she never made before. So that's why you white people out there, so called white people, because, white isn't a race, but I say that just for the sake of discussion. But anyway, for you white people out there who thought Oprah was a good person, that she wasn't a racial panderer because she kissed ass so well. Well, you got exposed to her grifting, and she's went from grifting white people to now grifting the manosphere and black fatherhood. Just going to show you once again, these mainstream Hollywood freaks will exploit any and everything, any and everywhere, just as long as they can get some type of profit out of it. Now, the manosphere is basically this thing that is comprised of men, some who are all about going their own way, and others that are simply about being more mindful for who you decide to settle down with, and exposing these trifling women and deadbeat moms, not just deadbeat dads. And due to people like Kevin Samuels and even early ones like Tommy Sotomayor, and you have others by the name of David Carroll, and they have helped grown this thing called the Manosphere. Oh, and Kwame Brown, a recent one. And seeing that it's making money, and probably seeing the future that people are getting more sick and tired of these liberal women and feminism, Oprah Winfrey has decided to grift and jump on the bandwagon of the Manosphere with shows like I Am Athlete, where athletes and actors get together and talk about mental health and blah blah blah. And she has something called Oprah 100 Black Fathers, a conversation with Oprah featuring a bunch of black Hollyweird weirdos. And I just sit back and laugh. I sit back and laugh because, she had white people for years thinking that she wasn't one of these racial antagonizers until BLM got popular. And now she's trying to hop on the manosphere and somehow believe that we're all supposed to forget how she was kissing ass on one end and now has switched over to kiss ass on the other end. That's why white people, men, fathers, all alike have to be mindful of these ass kissers. And I see this little, stout built bitch miles away. I mean, again, these people are so obvious. You don't have to be particularly street smart or book smart, to see the obvious exploitation that's going on here. And that's all she's doing. She's hopping on this Manosphere bandwagon with this I Am Athlete that features all males, and this 100 Black Fathers thing that features all males. We are all aware, or the sane and rational ones among us, are all aware of this chick's witchcraft and what she's been indulging in. She's one of the main ones that put out that goddess and, goddess of female nonsense, the moronic, idiotic feminist agenda that she spread for decades during her talk show with the Oprah Winfrey show. And so, again, she's obvious. And again, with this Black Fathers thing, it features Oprah, and then one of the guests is Tyler Perry, the cross-dresser. I mean, this is the biggest clown show at all. And that little dude, Killer Mike, Bernie Sanders supporter. Yeah, he's one of these people that have tricked a lot of, and not just the woke, but people who are anti-SJW have been tricked by this guy because he says things that sounds nice. And I'm mindful of people who says things that sounds nice, especially if they're a part of the mainstream. I just don't believe any of these bastards. Even if they say things that I agree with, like Denzel Washington has said things that is, that's true, and he's been rather consistent. But at the end of the day, I know he's of the mainstream, and thus he's not to be trusted at all. But again, watch out for this chick. Don't be fooled. Sadly, a lot of people will be fooled. That's why we continue this cycle of perpetual victimhood and just dumbasses falling for the same tricks. But for people who are mindful, who are very well aware that a lot of these mainstream people, well, not a lot of them, all of them cannot be trusted, I'm sure you are fully well informed that this trick is grifting. But for those who are the uninitiated, do not believe this bitch. She's seeing the oil run dry on one grift, and now she's moving on to another grift. And grift is basically a word for exploitation. She's an exploitive con. And she's being employed by the mainstream to compose this image of black fatherhood in the image that they want it to be. So, yeah. Screw Oprah Winfrey and screw her I care about men and fathers bullshit all of a sudden. Get out of here.